All right. Welcome, 800. I'm really happy to have you here today with me. And I also want to welcome everybody who is a part of our Crosschain Live campaign. This is a place where we talk about cool projects in the across and the Hyperliquid ecosystem. This is also a place where we discuss geeky, nerdy new trends, and a place for builders to learn how to build on the best cross-chain platform in the world, which is Across. With us today, we have 800, who's the co-founder of HyperBeat. HyperBeat is one of the coolest and the cutest protocols that I've used in the Hyperliquid ecosystem. And today we'll do a walkthrough on what it is, how it works, everything on that front. So I'll give the mic over to 800. Sir, how are you doing? How's your day going?
Great. Yeah. Thanks for having me on. It's a pleasure and it's an honor. Excited to speak to you and the rest of the community. Yeah, and just to share a bit more on how we built some of the flows in our liquid banking product, and yeah, how great it was to work with the Across API to get this done.
Oh yeah. Whenever somebody says it was great working with you across API, I'm that's just music to my ears. So thank you for saying that. But yeah, let's get started. I know that Hyperbeat has been in the Hyperliquid ecosystem for a very long time. But given that you also have a lot of good experience around liquid banking, around how maybe neobanks work as well, why Hyperliquid? Like, what attracted you to build on top of Hyperliquid, and how has the journey been for you throughout this time?
Yeah, so we've been part of Hyperliquid pretty much since the start. We were early community members and live, well, playing around on H Fun. I think the community will know from Laracle, and yeah, made a lot of a lot of cash trading random spot tokens on HyperCore, and yeah, that just evolved into obviously Hyperliquid becoming what it is today. Um, the reason why we felt that this product can be really compelling for users and can just be a great experience for users on Hyperliquid specifically is because Hyperliquid gives you structural advantages over, let's say, another neobank on another chain. And those advantages are firstly native deposits. So via Unit Protocol, which exists as part of Hyperliquid, you can accept native BTC, native ETH, native Sol, effectively any native asset that Unit Protocol supports. Now, why that's important is because that's what a centralized exchange offers, right? And if you are a liquid bank or you're a neobank and you're trying to offer native flows without taking custody of users' assets, it's not possible to do unless you're built natively into Hyperliquid. So, right, the flow for us is effectively you can send Bitcoin from your Bitcoin wallet directly to your liquid bank account, and it will arrive in your liquid bank account without us ever taking custody. Now, that is not possible on any other chain except for Hyperliquid. The second point there is that Hyperliquid allows you to offer exactly what Hyperliquid is to your own users and in your own way via builder codes. So secondly, this is not really possible if you're built on another chain because you need to be moving assets onto HyperCore. And if you're not built on HyperEVM, you basically shoot yourself in the foot because you can't really move the assets cleanly to HyperCore for users to trade on it. And again, that will lead to teams and different protocols basically making compromises. So I'd say those are two of the main structural advantages that a neobank on Hyperliquid has. And yeah, thirdly, it's obviously just the community. People actually care in Hyperliquid, and yeah, we care and we love the community. So that's underrated because yeah, a lot of other chains are basically dead.
I love that. I absolutely love that. I'll start off with the community bit because today, if you are building anything in crypto and you're not building on Hyperliquid, you're done. Like, it'll be difficult for you to get users, difficult for users to get liquidity, difficult for you to make the whole experience sticky because the Hyperliquid ecosystem and the community around here is what keeps things going, I personally feel. And then coming over to the technical things, you're absolutely right. Like, the easiest way that I explain people, that, hey, this is HyperEVM and this is HyperCore, is that if your funds are on HyperCore, you can directly trade them on Hyperliquid. It's just as simple as that. So, on that front, I also want to understand and learn from you, why a neobank? Because we know HyperBeat has also evolved through stages, and now it is what it is today, which we will see in a bit. But could you walk us through the journey of how you started with the idea of HyperBeat? Obviously, you explained how you saw the opportunity, but how did you start? What was the initial product vision to now where it is a liquid bank, a neobank? So how does that work? And could you just walk us through?
Yeah, sure. So we started with our vaults, and that's how I think most people came to know HyperBeat and what we do. And that was good for its time, and it served its purpose. But over time, we realized, like, okay, vaults are good, and they were good at that time. And then we rolled out MorphoBeat, which is basically the Morpho instance on HyperEVM. After that, we launched MasterSwap, which was an aggregator of aggregators, and then we launched BeHype. And these things together seem almost like individual protocols, each one. But we've always been up for the challenge to implement many different features for our users, and that thinking basically culminated in the liquid banking product, which effectively integrates everything else we have into a smart account or a liquid bank account that a user can basically access all of our products through, but then unlock further utility. For example, credit, trading, saving, spending, all from that one account. So yeah, like each product that we launched previously almost served the purpose in isolation, but they came together to basically give liquid banking these different offerings that users might want within their account.
I love that. I love that. There's also a lot of discussion around neobanks in general in crypto now, because that seems to be the new trend. Everybody wants to offer a banking experience to their users where it can generate yield, where it can also be used for quick on ramp and off ramp, and funds that they have on other chains and other wallets can be ported over to this smart account and then be, either used in generating yield for the user, or just be able to do payments. Is there a payment route as well on HyperBeat that our users should look forward to? Or like, what's the product now, and what the future of the product do you think will be like, especially when it comes to HyperBeat being a neobank now?
Yeah, sure. I can maybe share my screen and take you through that and walk you through
Perfect. Yeah, let's
like
do
how
that.
it all works. Can you see my screen?
I can see your screen. Should I bring it on stage?
Yeah, let's do it.
Perfect. All right. So this is the HyperBeat app experience. Let's go.
Yeah, so just to walk you through what you actually have as a user. So firstly, your account over here is a smart account, and that exists on HyperEVM. And you have a passkey for that. You can add a YubiKey, right? This is very secure. And then from there, you can basically start doing stuff. So firstly, what people are mainly doing is spending. So you can actually issue multiple cards against your account, and then you can spend using those cards. Spending comes in two forms. You can spend on credit, like I'm spending right now. Right now, I have $23,000 that I've already spent on credit, and that is against my credit portfolio. So how this looks for a user is I have borrowed that amount of money. I have a credit line up to that amount. And the assets that I'm using as collateral is Hype, Sol, BeHype, USD Plus, Gold, BTC, and ETH. So I have a diversified portfolio, but nonetheless, that's what I'm using as credit. Now, what's really cool about this is that the interest rate at the moment on credit is 0.03%, which is obviously very good because it's effectively free credit. But what's even better is that you're spending against Hype, which obviously is the strongest asset in the market at the moment, and you're also earning Hype cashback against that asset. So you can see over here, this is just me paying my Anthropic subscription and
Nice.
paying for other stuff, but I'm getting cashback paid in Hype, which is obviously great. So That's like the first pillar. The second part
Nice.
is savings. So you can access savings directly in your account and then use that as credit. So for example, I have USD plus. So I have an amount of money in USD plus, and I'm actually using that amount as collateral, meaning that I'm earning interest on my collateral, but the borrow rate is only 0.03%, which leads to an outcome like this, where my annualized net borrow cost is actually greater than my cost of borrowing. Um, and yeah, that's effectively just an incentive for people to say, hey, like I need to put more money into BeHype. I need to put more money into USD Plus because I'm earning more than I'm paying on credit. And again, this is all non-custodial, and that's powered by Morpho under the hood. So yeah, I'll stop there, and then we can continue if you want.
For sure. I guess one thing that I want to learn and understand here is how are my interest rates affected in a turbulent market? Because you did mention that Hype is the strongest asset in the market right now. And it has been the strongest asset throughout the bear and throughout the war and everything that has happened. Hype has kind of maintained its position nicely. So how do you see, like, and you give cashbacks in Hype, which I absolutely love. But given the turbulent market, how do you see that affecting interest rates, or how do you see that affecting the HyperBeat experience in general?
Yeah, so the interest rate on credit is it's not affected by like what's happening in the market, because it's just a function of the borrow demand for people
Mhm.
spending on credit. So the more people that spend on credit, the higher the borrow rate will rise. But at the same time, the higher the borrow rate, the higher the savings rate. And that's why we built it in this way, that savers are effectively funding credit expansion, and credit expansion creates an incentive for savers. So this, as far as we are aware, is the first time like a neobank has done this, because it solves the problem that credit creates, right? Credit creates a liquidity issue if it expands too quickly, but that liquidity issue is solved by savers. And savers is really good for the platform because it increases the supply of HyperBeat USD, which further generates more revenue and funds higher incentives. So yeah, everything's built as a closed loop so that yeah, we don't get into wild interest rate spikes.
Nice. I think that's really cool. It also, I think the app experience in general is so nice because even the show me how button that you have right there on the credit side of things, that's actually really cool because the video really gets your attention and then you kind of learn how the protocol sort of works as well. I hope that's what happens here, right? Like I'll see maybe a tutorial or video. Oh, there we go.
Yeah,
A simulation. Even better.
exactly. Exactly. Yeah. So the whole idea here is that we're trying to demonstrate that, hey, the borrow rate is lower than the interest rate you're earning. So you might as
Mhm.
well deposit into USD Plus and then activate it for credit and let your yield pay off your debt, which is uniquely possible within DeFi.
I love that. And about the card, is this something that I can add to my Samsung wallet, my Apple Pay, and then just tap and pay? How does that experience work for the user?
Exactly. So if you want to issue a new card, you can just issue a new one right here. Right now, we only support digital cards. So the physical cards actually arrive in about 2 weeks, and then we can start shipping that to some of the users. But the process would literally be, okay, I want to call it, uh, let's just call it liquid banking,
Yeah.
confirm the details, and then that's my virtual card. If I would like to add it to my Apple Wallet or Google Wallet, I just follow these instructions and you're pretty much good to go. So, yeah, it's as simple as that. And on the mobile app, which should be rolling out in one or 2 weeks, you can just
Mhm.
click one button and it would auto populate on your phone. And yeah, you wouldn't
I
have to
love
do anything manually.
I actually really love that because as we move to a more crypto world, especially in regions where these cards are accepted, all money can just stay on chain and then I can stop dealing with my bank and their delays and everything. And I can just use Hyperbeat. I absolutely love that. This is pretty cool. Congrats on making this. Um, I also want to move forward and learn a little bit more about how Across helped you in this experience, and primarily learn about your integration and how things work, because we now know that Across is a part of the HyperBeat ecosystem. But would you mind shedding some more light on how the integration happens and all of the components around it?
Yeah, so Cross has been great. So shout out to you guys. The problem we had when we were building this was it's great that we're on HyperEVM, but it's bad because there wasn't a lot of liquidity. So it wouldn't be good enough if you're just like, oh, you need to have USDC on HyperEVM, and that's the only option to deposit. Obviously, users have a lot of money on other chains, and HyperEVM is still relatively young in the greater scheme of things. So we said to ourselves, like, how can we solve this problem? And secondly, how can we solve it in a way that we don't take custody of users' assets? So the flow works as follows. Let's say you are holding USDC and you are holding it on another chain. You can just send the USDC directly to your deposit address. And these are the supported chains. And once it's received here, you just click this button and it would detect your deposit, and then it would bridge the asset from your smart account that is also deployed on these chains, and it would bridge it using Across directly into your account. So to give you a live example of how this works, let me do this. So let's see what money I have in this wallet. All right, let's take $5 from base. So you send it to your account. All right, successful. You click, I have made my deposit. It detects it immediately. You can see over here, it gives me the quote less the bridging fee. I have to sign to initialize this bridge. So I sign the transaction. And what happens now is under the hood, it's using the Across protocol. It's busy bridging it from base to HyperEVM in USDC. And it should arrive in a few seconds. And then once it arrives, what actually happens is when we sign the next transaction, there we go, bridge is complete. It actually mints HyperBeat USD. So over here, it's asking me, hey, do I want to save it, or do I want to spend this money? Let's just allocate it to spending for now. At this step, we're actually minting HyperBeat USD, and that is our internal stablecoin within the Liquid Bank. So any dollar that comes into the Liquid Bank mints our own stablecoin that generates treasury yield, and there we go, it's done. I just deposited money from base into my Liquid account, and that's minted our stablecoin, and we can now basically spend it or save it or do whatever.
Love that. This is an extremely well-built app experience, and I'm so happy to see that we were able to support you in building this out. This is great. Thank you so much for making this. And I think I'll start using it as quickly as our live stream ends today. So cool.
Amazing. You guys have been great. And like we integrated a few other flows from Across as well. So the same flow exists for USDT. The same flow exists for, let's say you're holding like some random token on another chain. You can actually just connect your EOA. Let's just say it's like a meme coin that also uses the Across swap and bridge function to execute that. So I think my point to the builders out there is that we did review all the bridges, and Across is the fastest and the cheapest and the easiest. So well done.
Thank you. That's music to our ears. And just as you were explaining this experience, even our team who's watching the stream just texted me and they're like, we want to use HyperBeat right after this. So that takes me to the next question, which is that since you have a card and since there are physical barriers, like geographical barriers to having a card, are there any regions that are not accessible in the 2-week period after which we'll have a card? Because I remember Gnosis also started giving out cards, but then they were not accessible in like half the regions across Europe and not in Asia and stuff like that. So
yeah,
there you go. Hmm.
Yeah, so you can just look at our help desk. We can maybe link this afterwards. So
Yeah.
these are the regions that HyperBeat Pay is like not available in. So it's clearly stated there.
Hmm.
And then obviously the regions in which it is available, which is this one. And yeah, like it's the vast majority of countries and states globally, besides obviously the sanctioned ones.
Yeah.
So yeah, as far as we're aware, we support like every viable country that is allowed to be supported. Yeah.
Amazing. Amazing. And in this flow, you also mentioned HyperBeat USD. Do you mind sharing a little bit more on how did the idea of HyperBeat USD come into your mind? How do you maintain the infrastructure? Anything that you'd like to teach us about it?
Yeah, so HyperBeat USD is built in partnership with Paxos. So it is an institutional stablecoin, and the whole idea and thinking behind it was that if you look at the traditional banking model, right, in the traditional sense, they use fractional reserve banking. So, like fractional reserve banking, obviously means that like somebody is depositing money in their account, but then they're lending it out with some sort of reserve ratio. But in crypto, you can't do that, right? Everything is basically one to one. So if that's a traditional bank's number one moneymaker, uh, like how does a neobank compete, right? Or how does a neobank's revenue, or what does a neobank's revenue look like in that scenario? Um, and having your own native stablecoin built into your platform basically solves that problem. If you compare this to, let's say, Hyperliquid that has right this USDC and USDH sort of scenario, think of it as if Hyperliquid had USDH from the start, and every USDC that was deposited into Hyperliquid actually minted USDH. That $5 billion that's now in Hyperliquid would be earning 3.6% a year, and that translates to I don't know what the exact number is, but it's like $200 million in revenue a year. That's
Yeah.
basically being forfeited. So in our case, all of that revenue is accrued, and that gets driven back for further growth via incentives, and which is also what makes our incentive model sustainable. Because other neobanks that don't have their own native stablecoin are effectively forfeiting all of that yield to Circle or to Tether, depending on what settlement token they use. And yeah, that's just, to be frank, money left on the table. So yeah, it wasn't easy to build. It complicates things massively, but
Yeah.
yeah, we're proud to say that we were able to do that, and yeah.
Love that. And I also love the way you explained it because most of our users are builders, they're technical folks. And for us to ensure that the protocols we make in our future are all, mindful of the fact that we're leaving money on the table if we're not having some kind of incentive mechanism like an institutional stablecoin attached to our application. So that's pretty cool. And thank you for explaining that. Um, Before this live stream, we also sent out a community message and asked folks in the across ecosystem if they have any questions that they'd want to ask you. If you don't mind, we have a few things that our viewers and listeners and users have wanted to learn. Some of them are Hyperliquid related, some of them are HyperBeat related. Can I get started and ask just some rapid fire things that we can answer for our users?
Yeah, let's do it.
Amazing. So the first thing is that the question was around security. Since after the drift hack, the entire ecosystem is a little bit scared. Do you mind shedding some light on how HyperBeat's security model works, the audits, anything related to the security that we can tell our users so that they can be reassured and use HyperBeat freely?
Yeah, sure. So firstly, the Liquid Bank, which is a management account. Let me take you to our docs.
Mhm.
Liquid banking. So our architecture works as follows. So you basically have a management account. This is like your Liquid Bank account. You are the owner of that account, meaning that you have full custody of that. And this account, and obviously everything around it, has been audited by Satora, by Nethermind, by Zelic, which are some of the top auditing firms in the ecosystem. Um, And how this model works is that your account can basically only access certain whitelisted DeFi protocols. So let's say that this is your liquid bank account in the middle. You can only access, for example, HyperCore, Morpho, Aave, and these various adapters that effectively plug into your liquid bank account. And the reason why that's important to highlight is that you can't, for example, just interact with any contract, and you can't just mistakenly, for example, like interact with a drainer contract or something of that nature. Everything has to be approved by you, right? That's why in your sign-up flow, you may have noticed, or if you now that I mention it, you may think about it, but you actually sign to approve these services. And so again, this isn't something that's forced upon you. You are basically approving this service registry, and that registry basically gives you superpowers like, oh, I want to trade on the liquid bank, or I want to spend, or I want to access credit, or I want to save, right? All of these are actually adapters that we call services that you are interacting with. It is available for you to review, so you can check our audits over here, and you can review that yourself and have a look. And yeah, like with any DeFi protocol, it grows over time, right? Trust is built over time. And that's why we had like a decently length beta just to make sure everything's looking good. And yeah, that passed with flying colors. And yeah.
Amazing. That was actually really nicely explained, especially the whole flow. And coming from you, it instills confidence into like the users and people who want to use. Because I'm constantly getting DMs right now of people who are really, really interested in using HyperBeat. So thank you for sharing that. More
Awesome.
importantly, we also want to learn about any upcoming features for HyperBeat because the ones you have on board right now are absolutely amazing. And what do you have in store for us? Things that we can look forward to, anything like that?
Yeah, so our mobile apps should be launching very soon. They are very, very nice on Android and on iOS. So I think I'm excited for that. I've personally never been like a DeFi user on my phone, but I've come to appreciate that, yeah, it is very important for a lot of other people. And yeah, mobile app basically opens up the door for normie adoption because yeah, let's be honest, normal people don't just like use their laptop to to do stuff. They
I agree.
mostly just use their phone. So that's number one. Number two, we have been building some cool stuff internally on HIP4. So prediction markets will be built natively into your liquid bank account, and you'll be able to trade and create different markets directly from your liquid account, which is pretty cool because again, like the whole vision and point of a liquid bank account is like Jeff mentioned on his previous podcast, but Hyperliquid makes it possible for you to interact with all of finance from effectively one account, right? He spoke of like a unified account, and that's pretty much what we built. So we can plug in anything new, like I mentioned over here. Given our architecture, anything new that comes along, we can build an adapter or a service for it, get it audited, and then users can start interacting with that without compromising, right, the security of everything else. Yeah, so that's cool. And thirdly, we'll be implementing more currencies. So right now, when you're withdrawing, you can withdraw these currencies, but we'll be rolling out like BRL, CAD, and these other currencies very soon. And yeah, on the immediate short term, that's what we'll be releasing soon.
Perfect. That's honestly amazing. Also, one question from my side is, are you adding more sound effects to the app? Because the ones you have, we love them. Are there more coming soon?
Yeah, we had some requests from users. We can add it, but yeah, it was like a love-hate relationship. Some people loved it, and others thought like, this is crazy. What are they hearing?
No, I actually relate a lot to that because the first time I actually heard a sound effect on an application, which is a serious DeFi application, was CowSwap. And then internally, our team was like, hey, should we add like a Zoom car sound effect to when a bridge happens on a cross? And then we kind of left it in limbo there. But we love how you executed it, honestly. And yeah, final question is, where do we go if we need support while using HyperBeat? We saw you have a help center. Is there a server, maybe a community channel? How should we reach out in case something goes wrong?
Yeah, so the easiest way to do it is just to click this little bubble. You ask a question and you say, hey guys, please help. Please help, my deposit is stuck. We have a really well-trained AI bot that responds as a first responder, but our team is pretty responsive, and they should respond within like 1 to 2 minutes once somebody opens a ticket. If you don't like this, you can also just go to Discord. However, this is probably the most efficient way to get your answers.
Perfect. I think that's really, really amazing. Also, I think 256 just responded to the question about sound effects and they're saying, please, no more sound effects. So we
Yeah, you see it.
see.
You see it. But 256 is an interesting character. Shout out, bro.
Shout out 256. We'll bring a comment right here as well. Amazing. So yeah, with this, it's honestly really clear to me that if Hyperliquid is the house of on-chain finance, HyperBeat is the flag bearer of all cool developments that are happening in the ecosystem right now. Thank you for building out this product. Looks absolutely amazing, and we've got tons of good response on the stream already. So we'll see people jumping in, and I'll be one of those as well. Before we leave, are there any closing words from your side that you want to share a word on?
Yeah, thanks for setting this up, and shout out to the community for always being willing to try new stuff and give good feedback. And yeah, we want to encourage that feedback. It's very helpful for us. When you're building something, it's easy to, I think, build a strong opinion on what you think, like the path forward should be. But the best way is always just to listen to what your users want, and to build that. So yeah, we want to hear more, and yeah, thanks for supporting us.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for building with the cross. It's been an absolutely amazing experience. And also thank you for coming today on the live stream and sharing more about HyperBeat. Thank you so much. And thank you to all the viewers as well. We'll see you all on the next one. And have a good day, 800.
Thanks, guys. Cheers.
Cheers. Bye-bye.